Well, now to the blistering war of words between social commentators, former rugby union star, journalist and author Peter FitzSimons and broadcaster and journalist Lucy Zelic. It was an opinion piece this week from FitzSimons urging the public to ease up on the criticism of trans athletes, particularly at junior levels, which resulted in a fiery response from Lucy Zelic accusing him of pretending that biological reality doesn't matter. I'm pleased to say Lucy Zelic joins me now. Lucy, welcome. For people who didn't see Peter FitzSimons' article, can you just explain to me what upset you most about what he wrote?
Well, first and foremost, I know that everyone is entitled to their opinion in this respective issue, James, and I know that Mr FitzSimons has already had a very clear position on this and shown his support for the trans community. I guess from my perspective, the biggest frustration for me is why that compassion and that support never extends to the women and girls across sport. And by the way, this also exceeds the spectrum of sport. Why that compassion and understanding never extends to the women and girls who are genuinely affected by this. So there was that level of frustration for me that occurred, but also that, that a lot of people are just engaging in this war of words for sport and for fun, as though we get a real kick out of being threatened and abused daily over choosing to raise our heads above the parapet and enter the conversation surrounding biological reality and the need to preserve single-sex spaces for women and girls in sport in particular. So those sorts of kind of sentiments from Mr FitzSimons really irritated me. And knowing also that he's a former Wallaby, an athlete himself, and that he kind of tries to glaze over the fact that biological reality does matter and that there are very clear and distinct differences in physiology and the advantages that males are afforded through the androgenization process, I think was really disappointing to see.
He accused media personalities such as yourself, who campaign for fairness in women's sports, of being spreaders of hate bait. Are you a spreader of hate bait, Lucy?
No, and I really reject this idea, James, that by simply having this view that women and girls are entitled to single-sex spaces and the female sporting category to be preserved, that we are somehow bigots and transphobes. That's not the issue here, and I think it's very frustrating that by virtue of having that stance, that you are equated to those really nasty and awful things. I think it's important to really highlight that both things can be true at once. So you can have the belief that biological reality matters and that males should be kept out of women's sport. And you can also extend your compassion and understanding to the trans community. I certainly personally have no ill feelings or any specified hatred towards those in the trans community, but by virtue of having this position, I am perceived to have those sorts of feelings, which is really quite hurtful. And I think it's disappointing because what it's saying to women is that they aren't entitled to stand up for their rights, that they aren't entitled to have a voice on this. And I said earlier that this is an issue that exceeds the spectrum of sport. A lot of the people that I speak to, James, are women who are rape survivors, those for whom single-sex spaces are really imperative, those for whom, if they are in the presence of a male in these female-dedicated spaces, feel very triggered and re-traumatised. I speak to women of faith who, unfortunately, are no longer able to compete in particular sporting categories because of their religious beliefs. So these are other issues that are largely being ignored. And I don't know about you, James, but I'm really not comfortable with turning my head away from these women who really rely on these spaces for their safety and for their comfort. That just doesn't sit well with me. And until we change the legislation in this space, I will not be quiet.
Yeah, well, I'm glad you continue to speak out, Lucy, because I know you and I know it's nothing to do with clickbait or spreading hate. It's all about fairness and safety, and more power to you.